Ladies and gentlemen, history has been made and the nation is beaming with pride. The youngest ever world chess champion, 18-year-old D. Gukesh, finally returned home today to a hero's welcome at the Chennai International Airport. Now, this is where fans had lined up the streets to celebrate his triumph.
Thank you for all the support. It means a lot to bring back the trophy to India, and thank you for this reception. I hope we can have a great time in the next few days celebrating together. Thank you.
Now, unfortunately for Gukesh, though, the prize money which he has won at the World Chess Championship has put him in the highest rank of income earned in the country, which means he will have to pay an astronomical rate of 39% as tax on his prize. What does this mean for Gukesh's tax bill? Well, levying 39% tax on the 11.34 crore rupees earned by him means he has to pay a whopping 4.42 crores as tax. Think of it. 40% of what the 18-year-old has earned through his sheer talent and hard work will be lost to the taxman. The fine print, though, is a bit more nuanced. A little more than half of this money will be paid to Singapore in the form of tax deducted at the source of income. The rest, which still comes up to a sum of above 2 crore rupees, comes to the Indian Finance Ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, when I first tweeted out this tax travesty this morning, I was bombarded by several comments asking me to do my research because they claimed awards won by sports persons are exempted from tax. Well, unlike the trolls, I actually do my own research. Clause 17 of Section 10, the Finance Act 1980, which is being quoted, does well indeed exempt tax from awards given by the government, such as, say, the Khel Ratna and the Arjuna Awards. So that's an award. But what Gukesh has won is not an award or a grant. It's prize money, which technically is income. And so, like all of us, Gukesh will have to pay tax on this income, and quite a hefty one at that. Unless, of course, he writes to the Sports Ministry asking for an exemption, or the Finance Ministry decides to exempt the prize money of the superstar from income tax. Both, by the way, are unprecedented. It has not happened before. A simpler tax would be just a cash award by the government, which compensates Gukesh for the money he's lost to tax. Surely we owe this much to the 18-year-old, who has not just earned a sizable amount of money for himself, but immense pride, honor, and accolades for the nation. But ladies and gentlemen, everyone in this country has an opinion on tax, if not chess. My guest this evening, Kishore Subramanian, is a financial expert joining us on the broadcast. Ankit Jain is partner, Ved Jain and Associates, joining us on the broadcast. He's also a tax expert. Ranjit Bajaj is a sports enthusiast who is joining us. Thank you all very much for being with us. Can I ask my friend Kishore to tell me where he stands on this one? Kishore, I know we all have to pay taxes. Kuch nahi kar sakte. There are only two things permanent in life, death and taxes. But I want to ask you, this is an 18-year-old. He has bought India immense pride. Kya farak padega if we waive off his tax? Not 4 crores, because 2 crores has already been deducted by the Singapore government because we have a double taxation treaty with them. But he will still have to pay 2 crore rupees to Nirmala Sitharamanji's ministry. What's the harm in waiving this money off, this tax off? It'll tell the young man how proud we are of him.
Okay, so let me first start by congratulating Gukesh, which everybody has done. But I think it's an amazing achievement for the young Chennai lad, my hometown. I'm very proud and happy about it. But coming to the point of discussion in today's context. So there are two angles you're bringing in, Shreya. One angle you're bringing in is that why don't we show him reciprocity for what kind of accolade he has brought to the nation? And the second point, is it fair to tax him? So should the government show reciprocity in terms of what he has brought to the nation? absolutely fine. That's perfectly all right. I don't think so. Anybody is going to deny if somebody is going to wave Gukesh off. But let's talk about, should we tax people who earn such awards, not awards, sorry, prize money in such events? I don't think so it is unfair. Now let me give you the logic before you jump the gun and telling me why it is unfair. Now let's say I start a company and make it India, the world's biggest startup in some domain. Will I be given waiver? Have I not achieved a world standard achievement in something? So now if you extrapolate that, Gukesh's great achievement, I'm not even discounting it. Now let's say I make Zomato or some startup, it's just naming something and it becomes the world's biggest in something. Will you give me a waiver? Now if you give me, how long will you give me and how much will you give me and whom all will you give me? So it is a double-edged sword to talk these things, because the moment you say it's not unfair, you're paying from what you have earned. See, Singapore is not going to waive it, okay? Despite the double treaty, he's not going to waive it, saying that, okay, Gukesh was a guest for us, let's waive it. No, it doesn't work. So, two answers. One, government can be magnanimous. It's an extraordinary achievement for a young man. Perfect. All of us will be there. Two, can we extend this as a blanket call? Because the moment you waive it off for Gukesh, somebody in carom, somebody in cricket, somebody in hockey, somebody in every damn sport is going to ask, where do you draw the line? It's a very tough subject, not easy. Everybody can have an opinion, because if you don't have one, you're a furniture, but that doesn't solve the problem here.
But here's the point. Here's the point, Ranjit Bajaj. Fact is, the Indian government in the past has been very generous with its sports people. I remember that the custom duty on the Ferrari, I think, that Sachin Tendulkar had got as a prize, its custom duty was 1.5 crore rupees or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was waived off. Even before that, Ravi Shastri.
Yep.
Was it an Audi? That custom duty was waived off as well. So it's not like it's not happened. It's just that, it's just that Gukesh hasn't asked. And they're a simple, good, hardworking, decent family. No one will ask, is the point. You have to give.
Ma'am, thank you first so much for having me. And just first of all, going back to our last guest, Kishore Ji, when he says, everyone has to have an opinion because otherwise you're furniture. Well, you're right. This furniture is being forced to speak out because, see, you cannot compare being the best plumber in the world or the best lawyer in the world or the best construction worker in the world to a sport champion. So like he said, every damn sport will get it. Yes, every damn sport should be getting it, because sports has got nothing to do with work, being the best in work or being the richest man there. You don't get prizes for that, or having a startup which gets the biggest IPO in the world. No, that nobody cares about that. What gets them, why is sports important? Because that's what stirs the nation up. That's what the entire nation stops the whole day and watches, and they give up their own work. They give up their own livelihood to watch sports. And when an Indian becomes a champion, it's an inspiration to millions and billions. You'll say, yes, even an IPO is. No, it's not an inspiration. Yes, it's a story that, yes, if he can do it and I can do it, he can achieve it. But this is something, just let's come to Gukesh. Not from a middle-class family, ma'am. He was from a well-off middle-class family, which turned into a lower middle-class family because his parents gave up every single thing they had so that their son could follow it. You think they have not spent more than, or opportunity lost, because they both had jobs and they gave them all up. They gave up all their dreams, shifted to a smaller house, shifted to a smaller car. You think the opportunity lost for them, or for giving up on their dreams, or for giving up on their money is not 8 crores, is much more than that. Then let's talk about the amount of economic value. Let's talk about what they're going to get into the country. Being a world champion, you've just given rise to a million kids who want to start playing sports, playing chess. And that means you'll have at least 10,000 sports academies opening up of chess. That means you've given jobs and ancillary jobs around to that industry. that is going to be, why did we become so good in cricket, ma'am? Why do we have now a 10,000 crore IPL? Is because we won the World Cup in '83. That's when the revolution started. Why are kids now throwing the javelin? Just because of Neeraj Chopra. Why are kids shooting? Because of Abhinav Bindra. And when you start taxing them, that means that you want, so that's like a government message saying that we want a part of your medal because we've been part of that journey. No, they've not. In fact, it's opposite. All these world champions have done it in spite and despite of the facilities available. So the little mere money they get compared to what the baseball stars in the US or the NFL stars in the US, which is $750 million, is the last contract which I heard. If that's what they're going to be compared to, then we are earning nothing. And he's become a champion at the age of 18. Imagine the kind of dreams which is given the billion Indians saying that, okay, fine, he can do it, so can we. So when you talk about tax, it should be, in fact, a law should come out, especially talking about this, ma'am. It should not be now decided on one-off cases. It's time enough because we Indians are going to be world champions very soon in everything. Why? Because of these men. And then you need to have a law protecting us.
Okay. And the last thing you want is your champs, Kishore Subramanian, like most of the, like most of the racers around the world who participate in the Grand Prix, the last thing you want is for our sports people to be shifting to countries like Morocco, tax havens like Morocco to save taxes. That's the last thing we want, Kishore. A quick response to Ranjit Bajaj, and I'm going to Ankit Jain then.
Yeah, I'm not going to take more than 40 seconds. See, my quick response is I'm not saying don't give him that. The government is jolly well within its right to give him that waiver, and I'm going to be happy about that. But the point that I disagree with Mr. Ranjit is a startup, a business is not equivalent. Now you are saying that you're capable of becoming a capable lawyer or a consultant or whatever is not that great, boss. Sports is unbelievable. That's not something which I agree to, because the moment you say extraordinary achievement, now let me ask you, if my son becomes the champion in maths Olympiad 3 times, are you going to give him a tax waiver? Or are you going to say, no, that's not great, only chess is great? You can't decide like this. It's too complex to decide on a TV debate. But the point I'm saying is, let the government give. I'm going to be happy. Let the government put out that if you become a world champion in anything, I'm going to give. Then if I say if I become a world champion in drawing, you still need to give me. If I become a world champion in making a company which is the largest, which also, by the way, gives millions, and by the way, sponsors this. Last point, as a financial consultant, I will give him an advice, okay? Unsolicited, but I'll give him an advice. Let him treat this as business income and tell him the expenses that he and his parents have done, and let him file the returns with a note saying that we spent 5 crores to earn this, damn well debit it as my expense, the rest can be taxed. And if he goes to an appellate tribunal, they can't challenge him because it's genuine expense done to earn this, and he can call himself a businessman playing chess.
Okay, so that's good advice in case he wants to do it. But the fact is, Mr. Jain, there was an argument that was made by Kishore Subramanian, and I just want to then turn that argument around and ask you, what is the logic then that the government makes awards that it gives, like the Khel Ratna or the Arjuna Awards, tax-free, but not if you're becoming a world champion and bringing in that money?
So what I would just simply share is that both what you asked is exactly the answer to what both Mr. Kishore and Mr. Ranjit have said. Gukesh has made an extraordinary achievement, and for that achievement itself, there is, the reward that he's already earned. That's a big amount, but it itself has brought a lot of honor to the country. Now, the amount of money that has come in is 11 crores, 11.4 crores that he's received. That seems very large right now, but looking at IPL, which is recently just concluded, this is very small compared to even the smaller. The largest players have got much bigger deals, and even the older cricketers have got much bigger deals. So the amount isn't very significant in terms of that. It is a very small amount. But the honor that it has created, it is very large. And even for Gukesh, it is just not going to end here. Tomorrow is not. In fact, probably right now itself, he would have his manager who would be speaking to for endorsement deals, and this income itself would be crossing probably another 11 or 10 or 50 crores, whatever the amount, maybe it can exceed, right? So giving a blanket waiver is a very difficult task, and I want that, yes, we need to encourage sports person. We need to have them focus and be able to do more for the country. But at the same time, it's a very difficult task. Where do you say that winnings will not be taxed and sponsorships would be taxed? How do you distinguish that? What is the basis? And it's a very difficult challenge, and making a blanket statement is very difficult. At such times, government has done it many times itself, that when people have gotten accolades for the country, they are deserving. That is when awards like Khel Ratna, Rajneet Ratna, these are handed out. And in that situation, the reason that it is not taxed is it is a very, kind of a very difficult section. You're giving out money, but you're taking part of it back to the government itself is giving and taking it back. So they want to give it only the amount that goes to them directly. They want them to retain the full amount. That is why these awards are given. And probably this is the best way that we can honor Gukesh as of now, by giving him a handsome, and people, has been done for Neeraj Chopra, etc. And also that when he won the Olympics medal, there were large amounts of multi-crore rupees given by the state government, central government as award to him. I don't know under which head, but I'm presuming that those were tax-free. So these are all which are a good motivation, good encouragement to any person who's taking up such big steps to and it's making such big achievements.
Ranjit Bajaj, we understand everyone's point of view, and everyone does have a point of view. I say he's a young lad, he needs the encouragement. If you don't want to, okay, don't have a blanket tax waiver, but at least encourage him and say, okay, we are waiving off your 2 crore rupees or 2 crore plus rupee tax that you have to pay to the taxman. I understand that, but does it rankle a bit when you see films, which are close to the establishment, become tax-free, given a tax waiver? I know the two things are not the same, but they are given a tax waiver and the government does lose out. But in this case, there's such a big debate. There was no big debate when, the Sabarmati report was being made tax-free by many state governments. There was no big debate when Kashmir Files was being made tax-free by many state governments. But there is a big debate over this.
Yeah. Ma'am, exactly. I totally agree with your point, because apparently that's of national interest, or something which is, sometimes even it's war movies and patriotic movies which get that exemption. So something which appeals to the masses and gets them inspired. And I don't think there's a bigger inspiring story than this. Ma'am, but there's also another pertinent point that there's a law which says examples of rewards and rewards not covered under section 1017A. So apparently, if payment is received from the central or state government, or from the Olympics or the Asian Games or Commonwealth Games, then it's exempt. But here it's not. So if apparently it was an Olympic medal and he was getting an actual cash award from there, it would have been exempt. And this has been according to the CBDT approval of order issued under section 1017A of the Income Tax Act, and this is applicable since 2014. So it's not something the governments are doing, and when they're saying that they're going to be making it free for the Olympic medal winners, but it should be done all across. So what I'm saying is, when they're saying how can it be done all across board, because if you have a world champion in a sport which is played by at least 50 nations, and here it's done by at least 150 nations, and on top of that, you know it's an international sport, there are world championships, it's an accredited body. So when all these things are ticking the boxes, then that sport has to be recognized. So you can't compare this sport with, suppose, coming up with a pickleball or paddleboard. No offense to that, which is brand new sport. Okay, even I play it. But, it's brand new. I mean, you just can't give the same. This chess has been going on for 200 years. So it's as important as an Olympic medal.
Fair point.
And I think we have to celebrate our champions.
Okay,
we cannot be, ma'am, instead of celebrating our champions, we are penalizing our champions. Are we penalizing them for winning a medal now? Because he's thinking whether I should be in Monaco, like you just rightly said.
But all of us are being penalized for working hard also,
in winning medals.
But Ranjit Bajaj, he's facing the face of the Indian. He's facing the fate of the Indian middle class. This is our fate. We are penalized for working hard. We leave it there for the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone has an opinion on this. I hope we had an informed debate. Thank you very much, Kishore Subramanian, for joining us. Ankit Jain, thank you very much. And Ranjit Bajaj, thank you very much for joining us as well.